This is Sam Vaughan for Sam Sports Report. Going to watch the Tigers live from Columbia. Let's get to college basketball. We'll start with the Missouri Tigers this time. Mizzou will need to play well as they have lately 4-2 in conference play. Lost by 4 to Tennessee in a tough one on Wednesday. This team probably may make it to the Sweet 16. They could make it to the Final Four, but that's not really where they are. This Missouri basketball team was 0-18 last year and is at a remarkable turnaround. The Texas A&M Aggies beat South Carolina on a good one this week, 76-72. Players to watch out for: Tamar Bates, Caleb Grill. As of right now, the Tigers are 2.5-point favorites. Game time, 2:30. Kansas number 16 will play Kansas State, who has kind of gotten on a roll, winning 3 in a row. Kansas just had going against Iowa State, losing the previous weekend. It'll be home for Kansas State. Kansas State beat Iowa State just a week. Kansas State is trying to get better. They're 5-6 and 11-1. And I believe that if they finish 500 and make the tournament, but they're going to have to get ready on that. But they have won 3 in a row. They beat Arizona State just recently. Hunter Dickerson, DeJuan Harris, and Zeke Mayo. Players to watch out for: Riley Griffin and KJ Adams. For Kansas State, player to watch out for is David Nagesson. Amazingly, since Stromateng had some comments, maybe you'll get that answer in April. It's been one game at a time since we've been winning. That's just how we do it. We stick to keep it rolling. While I think Missouri's better than Kansas. You heard it here first. You heard it here first. KU's 16, Missouri's 15. They just look better. We'll see in the tournament if that turns out to be any difference of saying or the same saying. If Columbia and Kansas play at a neutral site, I think Missouri would win. A.J. Brown probably the best. You got to keep him under wraps. You got to keep him out of getting angry.
Yeah.
And same thing with Jalen Carter, I think.
Yes. He's been disruptive on the line.
Yeah, but you don't want him to lose his temper.
Oh, yeah. It hasn't hurt him too bad. He had, I think, one penalty in one of the games that he got called on.
And what do you think about the controversy the Chiefs are getting all the calls?
I think that's blown out of proportion. And if you wanna take a play here and there and slow it down and analyze it in slow-mo speed, I think any penalty call or non-penalty call could go the other way if you want to look at it in that format. So I don't necessarily buy into any sort of a conspiracy or discussion that the refs are biased.
So what's your other thoughts? I want to ask you, do you like the head coach?
Nick Sirianni? I think the coaching is a really interesting side to this, obviously with Andy Reid and his history with the Eagles, but all of his success in the Chiefs. And I know that everybody in Philadelphia is so happy for him. So from that standpoint, that's an angle that I don't think, you're going to see people or fans from Philadelphia that aren't fans of Andy Reid. I think everybody's a fan of Andy Reid. But I think the coaching scenario, I think the Chiefs probably have the advantage with Andy Reid's experience and success over Nick Sirianni. The defensive side, I think it's pretty even between those two defensive coordinators. They're both very well established. They're very respected. They have great experience and history behind them. So I think that's going to be an interesting battle of which defense can play better.
And you got any other thoughts?
On
Jalen Hurts, I think, is very underrated. I think he's a top 5 quarterback.
yeah,
Do you?
I don't know. And I saw an argument the other day where guys were saying that the top quarterbacks are Mahomes, Burrow, Jackson, and Allen with the Bills, and that Jalen is not in that same league as a quarterback. And I don't know how I feel about that, right? It's hard to make the comparison when I think Jalen Hurts is a different type of quarterback than a prototypical quarterback. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Do you think he's better than Lamar?
Well, I don't know. And I don't have statistics or things like that to like that. I haven't looked at the numbers to say this is how they stack up. And, the only thing I think that puts Jalen in their category is that those 5 are all winning quarterbacks. They all have a lot of wins, right? So,
for winning the MVP, Josh Allen collects a $1.5 million bonus.
Oh.
So he just financed his own wedding.
That's right.
MVP.
That's right. So Haley was the happiest one of the place last night. I was looking at the look on your face, Dan, as you were hearing this.
Because first team All-Pro and MVP are different awards.
They're different awards, but
Right.
they're voted by
So
the same people. So
Correct.
what I'm asking you is, you can see a difference between saying, well, this guy was the first team All-Pro, which would suggest he was the best
I voted
quarterback
for
in the
Lamar
league.
as first team All-Pro.
And you voted for Josh MVP.
Yeah.
Okay, so then explain it to me.
Because I
how
think
did
Josh
you
was
differentiate those things?
The value that the player brought to their football team. The Bills were the number 2 seed. Josh had a 40 touchdown, 8 turnover, 14 sack season. The Bills didn't have an elite defense. The Bills had a very good run game, not a great run game. They didn't have elite perimeter players in any regard. The way that Josh played this season and the different style that he played brought tremendous value to their football team. Lamar's season was absolutely sensational. He was probably the best player in football this year, or Jamar Chase, or Saquon Barkley. But value and how much you impact your team, who you do it with, and who you do it against, that's where I thought Josh Allen had the upper hand.
Interesting. We disagree on this side of the table.
Did he say most valuable player for his team? Is this MVP of the league or of the Bills?
Gosh. So, I think I'm glad that we have Dan here to defend him and the people who did this, but it does feel like you're trying to split the baby. Like, you don't got the heart to say what you actually want to say. I think both of them had MVP caliber seasons, but it feels like you are trying to find some little semantics trapdoors. You can give this to him and that to them because you don't actually want to say what you really want to say.
Which is what?
Lamar Jackson had the best season this year. And maybe you could argue
But that's not the award, Dom.
See, this is the semantics foolishness that we do. This is what you do. You say value. And the cool thing about value, it gives us on these shows a way to argue because you can twist it and turn it any way you want. Normally, MVP means who's the best damn dude in the league.
Yeah.
And to me, obviously, Josh Allen had an MVP caliber season. But the best damn dude in the league this year was the guy who was first team All-Pro. He's the quarterback. And then the people who are giving Lamar Jackson Offensive Player of the Year votes, I would be offended. I'm a damn quarterback. I'm not an offensive player. How dare you consider me a player?